Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. So, Chai with my Bhai is back, and Alhamdulillah, this time season 3 is going to be available on the podcast app, both on Android and Apple devices. So, if you're on either of those, then click the link below, inshallah. Subscribe to the podcast. I promise you're not going to want to miss it. And now it's accessible for you wherever you are. If you're on the train, you can listen to it with your headphones in, or you've got AirPods, Beats, whatever headphones you have, inshallah. You can listen to it wherever you are, whenever you want, inshallah. And if you're watching on YouTube, as always, just remember you can watch the video. And all the previous episodes from the last 2 seasons are available on YouTube. If you go to the playlist on Nasiha Session, the YouTube channel, if you go to the playlist, it's called Chai with my Bhai. You can find all the previous episodes there. And inshallah, from now on, all the future episodes on the podcast app. Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Brothers and sisters, welcome back to another episode of Chai with my Bhai. Now, today's a little bit different. We're in quarantine, the UK is on lockdown. So we are having to record Chai with my Bhai from the comfort of our own homes. So I'm in my house. Imran, give salam, he's in his own house.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And today, Qadrullah, it's only just the two of us, but inshallah for future episodes we're going to be, getting the other guests to come on as well, inshallah. Today's episode, there can only be one topic, and it's a topic which is related to why we're in our homes, which is the coronavirus, COVID-19, the disease that's been spreading around the world so rapidly and has affected so many people in so many different ways. Today we thought we'd have a little discussion on it. And the Islamic implications and things that we should bear in mind with it. The first question I've got is for Imran, obviously because he's the only guy here. Imran, just out of curiosity, how has coronavirus impacted the Dawah on our end? How has it affected the Dawah, the classes, the everything, inshallah?
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. So obviously it's had a huge impact in the sense where, of course, we have a strong da'wah presence online, but all of the online stuff that we do is built up of all of the offline projects that we do in the masjid. So it's affected us in both ways, in the sense where we're not doing anything offline, which is really where the da'wah really happens, where you get to meet people, speak with them, cultivate them. Does that make sense? So that's obviously will come to an end. And also it's kind of flipped everything on its head, because that was our way of creating content. But now, inshallah ta'ala, obviously, you have to be pragmatic in these situations. And we started off by creating da'wah online, at the beginning as it is anyway. So we're just going to go back to what it was, inshallah ta'ala. But it's sad because, wallahi man, the house of Allah is locked, innit? The masajid are locked, and we're feeling it. Not going to lie, we're feeling it still.
Yeah, subhanAllah, because even us, we were supposed to be, what's the date today? Today is the Friday, the 27th. On Sunday, we were supposed to be flying out, man. We were supposed to be going on Umrah with the man in part 6, but obviously that's been moved to October. But
look at that. Well, we don't even know if it's going to happen in October right now.
Exactly. It all depends on the situation, how it unfolds.
But it's so sad because we had so many plans. Like we had, and it shows you, wallahi, Allah is the best of planners, and He does whatever He wills. Like we had basically we were planning to do a Matic and a Masjid tour, but we're going to call it the grand events, and then each event we're going to give away a stack of £1,000. So we were going to do the grand events here in April. We were gonna basically do, like in Luton, Masjid Luton, we're gonna do like a 2-day sleepover in the masjid. Like we had lectures planned up and down the country. We had a Ramadan tour planned with Crisis Aid. We had Ramadan lessons planned. Like we had so much planned, but obviously it's all come to an end. But inshallah, we're still gonna create that content and put it online. It's just that obviously, Allah does whatever He does, isn't it? Just shows that you're not in
and
control.
Allah plans, and Allah is the best of planners.
Allah is the best of planners. And wallahi, to be fair, I believe a lot of khair is going to come out from this. I do believe a lot of khair is going to come out from this, inshallah.
I mean, a lot of khair already has. You know, there's less people outside, less free mixing. You know, bans on pubs and out, you know, restaurants.
100%. Like
so much khair has come from it.
100%. Because look, I've been a bit conflicted with this whole issue, yeah. Because obviously we know that Allah Azza wa Jal, you know, the believers, when they hear of these kind of things and trials and tribulations that are inflicting them, like they are supposed to take lessons from these things. Does that make sense? And Allah Azza wa Jal, He does this really and truly. It's come because of our sins and our shortcomings. Because Allah said, ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس ليذيقهم بعض الذي عملوا لعلهم يرجعون. That Allah, you know, corruption spread in the land and the sea because of what the people have done with their own hands. And the reason Allah is making them taste this calamity right now, ليذيقهم بعض الذي عملوا. So me and you can taste some of what we've done. Why? لعلهم يرجعون. So we can make tawbah and come back to Allah. So it's actually quite a scary situation. It's not a situation that's a situation where, you know, coronavirus spreading, guys, to celebrate. But at the same time, I can't help but want to slightly, I don't want to say celebrate, but like just rejoice, because like you said, the clubs are, like, bro, the clubs across the world are closed right now. I mean, there is not a club in the UK that's open. The pubs are closed, the bars are closed. They're closed across Europe, across America, the casinos, like, bro, all of this fitna and fasad has come to an end. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's less people, like, you know, the girls are inside. Like, look what Allah said, وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنْ. Stay in your houses, women. وَلَا تَبَرُّجْنَ تَبَرُّجَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ الْأُولَى. And don't come out, you know, doing tabarruj, like showing your beauty and, you know, basically just like, you know, immodesty, coming out like that. But all the girls are in their house now. Does that make sense? All the guys are in their house now. Like, well, like, everything is so nice. Like, there's a lot of khair. Like, to the point with me, this is something that I don't really talk about too much here, but slightly, I'm a bit of an environmentalist. I am a bit of an environmentalist. I recycle, I do that whole stuff. You know, I'm into save the planet and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I came across a message someone put up saying that since everyone's been in quarantine for the last couple of weeks, in the world, pollution has been at an all-time low. Not all-time low, but it's been the lowest that it's been in years. To show you how much human, like, even like the environment is like, we're happy. Do you know what I'm saying? So it is something that is very scary. It's not to be taken lightly. You know what I'm saying? But also, I can't help but really just I'm sad people are getting sick. I'm sad that people are going to die. I'm sad. I'm scared that Allah Azza wa Jal is, you know, potentially scaring His slaves, and you don't need to fix up, otherwise a greater punishment's waiting. But I also believe that within every dark cloud there is a silver lining. And
of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people get...
There are negatives, like, for example, like the masajid are all closed. You know, there's no more congregational prayers. There's no more janazah prayers for people who pass away.
But you know, Habibi, you know what it is though, yeah. Even if the masajid are closed, and it's sad, but like, you see, we can do two things here. We can either be sad that the masjid is closed, or what we can do is we can go to an alternative or a substitute, which may not be as good as a masjid, but it would kind of like, it is what it is. It's a substitute. A substitute never replaces the actual thing, but it's the best thing that you can do in that situation, right? And that is to set up a masjid in our own houses, because exactly. You know, there is a chapter Imam Bukhari, he mentioned in Sahih. He called it Babul Masajid fil Buyut, the chapter of establishing masajid inside of your houses. And then he mentioned an athar. He said, وصل البراء بن عازب رضي الله عنه في مسجده في دار في مسجده في داره جماعة. That Bara ibn Azib, who was a companion of the Prophet, he had a masjid in his house, and he used to pray in that masjid in his house, and he used to even pray Salatul Jama'ah in that masjid in his house. Does that make sense? Then he mentioned the narration from Itban ibn Malik radiallahu ta'ala anhu, that he told the Prophet that, you know, I want to set up a masjid inside my house, so can you come and pray inside that place in my house so I can take it as a musalla? And Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, he said this hadith indicates that, you know, we can set up masajid inside of our house like the companions did. And Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, when explaining the hadith in his explanation of Sahih Bukhari, he mentioned this was something that was a common practice of the Salaf, that they would have masajid set up in their house. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that this is a masjid. It's a musalla. It's not a masjid as in the house of Allah Azza wa Jal, where you don't the specific rulings that are specific to the masajid, they don't apply to this little masjid you set up in your house. But what it is that it's a specific place that they would take as a place of prayer, and they would pray their nafil prayers here. And if there was a situation in which they couldn't go to the masjid, they would pray their obligatory prayers here as well. And they would recite Quran there. That's where they pray their Qiyamul Layl. Does that make sense? Even though it's not a strong view, it's not a strong opinion, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu might say it's a bid'ah, but some of the Salaf held this view. It is that, the women, they do their i'tikaf inside of this masjid, inside of the house. They don't go into it inside the masjid outside. They do it inside the masjid they set up in their house. So except with some of them actually said her i'tikaf is not even sahih unless she does it inside of her house. Anyway, that's going off topic. That's not a strong view because the Prophet's wives done it inside of the masjid. The point is that the Salaf used to have a masjid in their house. So, a lot of us took the masajid for granted. Like a lot of us are crying, where's the masjid? Masjids are closed. But we would come to Jum'ah late. And even Jum'ah, it's like the only one we go to. What about Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib and Isha? But now that it's closed, we're starting to appreciate, right? So now if a person really is sad that the masajid have been locked up, then do the next best thing. Set a masjid up in your house. Pray Salatul Jama'ah with your family, because perhaps through this, Allah Azza wa Jalla will see that you are appreciating and you are grateful for the favor that you had, and He might give it to you. He might give it back. But remember, perhaps it was taken because you were ungrateful in the first place. So like I'm saying, even though it's sad, like things have stopped, things have slowed down, the masajid are closed, but wallahi akhi, the life doesn't end. Like inside of our house, we can do a lot of khair, we can do a lot of good. You know what I'm saying?
No, 100%, I agree with you fully. One of the things about Corona that for me just blows my mind is the fact that it's so small, something so tiny, creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is causing so much, disruption around the whole world. And with all the technology and all the, advancements and, the modern world and the first world countries, everyone's just been brought to their knees, and if this isn't a sign of Allah's strength, and I don't know what is, subhanAllah, when you think about it, it's actually so small, I don't think you can even see it under a normal microscope. I think you need a special, I think it's called an electron microscope or something.
You have to zoom in 250,000 times.
250,000 times just to see it. And this is something which has caused so much chaos and, all around the world, people have, falling down to their knees because of this. The whole world stopped. Flights, planes, economy, finances, everything. And it's just crazy that something so small, don't you think?
Well, actually, this is the thing that shocked me and everything itself. I just want to read something that actually one of my family members messaged me just early in the morning, and I think it's relevant here. I've got this message at 3 a.m. Look what it says. It said, the hidden soldier. It had entered every nation without a visa, crossed all passports without a pass. It crossed all airports without a passport, entered presidential palaces despite their guards. Look, man, Boris Johnson's got it. The Prince of Wales, Prince Charles has got it. Look, imagine, wallahi, it's gone into royalty, right? Despite their guards, struck fear into 7 billion people without a single weapon, closed all army camps despite their arsenal, destroyed the economy of nations without waging war, and took thousands of lives without firing a single bullet. It is a hidden soldier, so stealthy that it cannot be seen with a naked eye, and so powerful that it cannot be fought against. And then they mentioned the ayah where Allah said, وَمَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُ. No one knows the army of Allah except for Him. No one knows the soldiers of your Lord except Him. And then it says, but why has it been sent? It has been sent as a warning to humanity to humble their souls, remind them of their weakness, and make them realize their ultimate dependence is on their Creator, to remind them of the inevitable reality of death which they are fleeing from, so they may perhaps seek to return to the straight path and attain paradise as their final destination. As a destroyer of pleasures, closing down places of sin, alcohol and immorality, and bringing to an end gathering of music and whatnot, which has so long diverted people from ever thinking about the real purpose of life. And then it goes on, but wallahi, I just thought this was so powerful, man. So powerful, wallahi.
It's so true, because it's just but it's crazy, because it's if you can believe in a coronavirus, why can't not believe? Sorry, like people are so scared of coronavirus, but there has to be that balance of fearing Allah, because Allah is the one who created the coronavirus. Because you find a lot of people, they're talking about corona, like they're shook and scared of corona. They're not leaving their houses because of corona, or they're not doing this XYZ because of corona. But what about the master of corona? What about the creator of corona? The same level of fear.
That's the sad thing, isn't it? Like basically, because of corona, you're not coming out of your house. But like when Allah told people to stay in their houses, and it wasn't just women who were told to stay in their house. Even though the ayah does mention women, like a general rule is that when there's fitna, you don't come out of your house. The Prophet mentioned to such an extent where a man, the one who's indoors is better than the one who's outdoors, and the one who's standing is better than the one who's running, and the one who's sitting is better than the one who's standing. So being inside your house is for men and for women, especially in times of fitna. Does that make sense? And we've been telling people for example, look at the guys on the roads always hanging around on the blocks, and we say, bro, stay in your house. Why are you coming out for? Like this problem, like when you hang around on the blocks, what's going to happen? Fitna is going to come your way. You might get into a madness, you might get into this, you might get into that. And you know what it is? They didn't listen. But now corona comes, everyone wants to listen, everyone wants to obey, everyone wants to follow orders. Does that make sense? And the reality of the matter is that, Allah Azza wa Jalla said in the Quran that, you either come to Allah, you will submit to Allah willingly or unwillingly. Willingly or unwillingly. You will submit though. You will submit. Does that make sense? So the whole world is submitted right now. Look, they've stopped their alcohol, they've stopped hanging around the blocks, they've stayed in their houses. But it's sad that their submission came unwillingly. And that should show you the power of Allah, that, despite, like you said, all of this that you have, this strength, this weapon, like bro, like, I saw yesterday, I think something like, I don't want to mention the wrong number, but something like $4-5 trillion a year, like the American army spends on its military. And all of that amounts to nothing in the face of the coronavirus. You spend 4-5 trillion, like you got nuclear weapons, bro. But the virus got you all scared and got you home. It's got everyone stopped. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So, if only the people had just listened and feared Allah as opposed to fearing the virus. And I think it's important to mention here as a side point as well, that if we start to fear the virus more than we fear Allah, then there's a statement of Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala which comes to mind. And he said, there's no thing that you fear more than you fear Allah, except that Allah Azza wa Jalla will make that thing scare you. That Allah will make that thing a cause of fear for you until it overcomes you. Does that make sense? It's like with the jinn. Remember Allah said in the Quran, إِنَّهُ كَانَ رِجَالٌ مِّنَ الْإِنسِ. Like initially the jinn used to be scared of the humans. They used to be petrified of the humans. To the point where, if the humans would come to a valley, the jinn would run away. Does that make sense? But like on one particular day, the leader of the humans that came, he came to the valley and he said, we seek refuge in Sayyidi Hadihi al-Wadi. We seek refuge in the master, the leader of this valley, meaning the jinn, the head of the jinn. And then the jinn realized that day, this narration is mentioned by Ikrimah, it's in the books of Tafsir, is that the jinn were like, wait, these humans are scared of us the way that we're scared of them. They're scared of us the way that we're scared of them. Why are we scared of them? And then Allah said, وَإِنَّهُ كَانَ رِجَالٌ مِّنَ الْإِنسِ يَعُوذُونَ بِرِجَالٍ مِّنَ الْجِنِّ فَزَادُوهُمْ رَهَقًا. The humans, they started to seek refuge inside the jinn. The men from the humans started to seek refuge in the jinn. And then this gave the jinn an attitude. It made them think, what? One second. These are scared of us. So now so the jinn became a source of fear for mankind. And now they scare mankind. Does that make sense? And of course the ones who are not scared of the jinn are scared of them. The ones who are not scared, like remember, the shaitan would run on the other side. If Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu used to walk. Ibn Taymiyyah, if a man was possessed, and Ibn Taymiyyah, they would just bring his shoes. They would say, listen, here's Ibn Taymiyyah's shoes. Not that his shoes had any power, but just to say like, Ibn Taymiyyah's around the corner, look, his shoes are already here, look, he's just about to walk in. And then the jinn would get scared and run away. One time they were doing ruqya, I think in Medina, and they said, look, we're going to call Ibn Baz if you don't leave. And the jinn got scared and he ran away. So the point is that, like, Allah will give you strength, man, and protection if you fear Him and not this virus. But if you fear the virus and you don't fear Allah, then Allah will make that virus scare the living daylights out of you, man.
SubhanAllah. Another thing, just to quickly touch up on, is obviously a lot of people spreading a lot of information about the virus, and a lot of the time you find that things aren't really verified, or people are sending so-called cures, like recite this ayah 100 times in the morning, recite this 70 times. This sheikh had a dream and he said that he saw that the corona came, and this, that, whatnot. Like a lot of messages that are being sent. People claiming all sorts. People are selling ta'weezes for £250. Corona cures in them, and I've seen all sorts, man. I've seen people say that. What was it? I think yesterday at 11 a.m. there was going to be a congregational dhikr all around the world. They're going to recite certain things at 11 a.m. Everyone together from your houses, recite it together, or make the ayah together at that particular time, everyone together. What should we be doing? What should we be looking for? Like, how do we find the cure? Like, are these cures, like, is that what we should be looking for? Ta'weezes and congregational da'ahs and messages like that? Or what is it that we should be striving to do, in this time?
Definitely, akhi, the ta'weez thing is shirk. The Prophet ﷺ said, من تعلق تميمة فقد أشرك, or كما قال. Anyone who hangs or wears one of these amulets, فقد أشرك, the Prophet ﷺ said, he done shirk. Does that make sense? Another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, من تعلق شيئا وكل إليه. من تعلق شيئا فقد أشرك. And the other narration is من تعلق شيئا وكل إليه, or قد وكل إليه, or كما قال. Whoever hangs or wears or puts on one of these amulets, one of these ta'weezes, then he has relied upon it. Does that make sense? He has relied upon it. Another hadith the Prophet mentioned to Imran ibn Hussein radiallahu anhu, who was wearing something to protect himself from sickness. He was wearing one of these ta'weez kind of things. The Prophet said, may Allah not give you that which you ask, what you're seeking from it. And he said it would. What's the exact wording of the hadith? What is it? It is. لا يزيدك إلا وهنا, or كما قال. He said it will only increase you in wahan. I got the wording of that narration wrong because my memory slipped my memory. But the point of the Prophet, he told his companion not to wear it. Does that make sense? And the Prophet said, it will not increase you except in weakness. So if a person tries to wear a medallion or a talisman or a medallion or a ta'weez or an amulet to protect himself from this virus, it will not do anything except increase him in that sickness that he's trying to run away from. And that was the wording of the Prophet. The Prophet doesn't lie. Does that make sense? But what people should be doing, akhi, in terms of practical steps, and inshallah ta'ala, I'm going to be producing a series, and we're going to be, as Knowledge Coach, producing a PDF called the COVID-19 Survival Pack. And just been a bit busy at home, catching up on a few projects and things like that, so I haven't got around to it yet, but I'm going to probably start it tomorrow, I'm actually hoping. And we're going to go through step by step, inshallah ta'ala, what a person should do in these times. First and foremost, the first thing is that they should listen to the scholars, because the scholars, Allah Azza wa Jalla said in Surah An-Nisa that when it comes to them things pertaining to safety and security, if only they took it back to the messenger and to Allah and to the people who are placed in authority amongst them. Does that make sense? The people placed in authority amongst them here is talking about the scholars. The ayah is talking about the scholars. Very well known that this ayah here is talking about the scholars. Does that make sense? So it's the issue of safety and security, and we should be taking it back to the scholars, because I see a lot of people talking about, no, you should go play Jummah, you should pray in the park, you should do this, you should do that. And it's like, bro, you're putting people's life at risk, man. It's the issue of safety and security. The scholars understand the religion best, and Allah told us to take the matters of safety and security back to them as it is anyway. And they've told you, you don't have to pray Jummah right now, because they understand the deen better than you. So we should be taking things back to the scholars. Does that make sense? When it comes to Islamic cures and Islamic guidance, again, we should take it back to the scholars. You know what I'm saying? Like a person sending around, read this 100 times and Allah will protect you. Like, where are you getting this from? Like, let's go to the ulama, let's ask them to teach us, and let's ask them to break it down to us. So that's the first thing I would say in terms of where you should be getting your source from. Yeah. But what it is that you should specifically be doing, the first thing is coming to Tawheed, because Allah Azza wa Jalla said in the Quran, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يَلْبِسُوا إِيمَانَهُم بِظُلْمٍ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. Allah said, when Allah talks about people who are going to be safe, the people who are going to achieve safety, who are going to receive safety, Allah, what did He say? He said there are people who believe, and after believing they do not do shirk. They do not mix their iman with oppression, and inna shirka la dhulmun adhim. The greatest oppression is shirk, as the Prophet explained. So they do not mix their iman with shirk. They don't do any shirk, and they will have safety. In another ayah, Allah Azza wa Jalla mentions Surah Al-Nur, وَلَا يُبَدِّلَنَّهُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ خَوْفِهِمْ أَمْنًا. That Allah will change their state of fear to a state of safety. When? The end of the ayah mentions, يَعْبُدُونَنِي. When they worship me alone, لَا يُشْرِكُونَ بِي شَيْئًا. They do not come with any shirk whatsoever in any way, shape or form. Then Allah will give them safety. So the first thing is that we need to come to Tawheed proper, meaning we have to worship Allah alone and no one else besides Allah. The second thing that we do, inshallah ta'ala, because remember Tawheed gives us safety, is that we read adhkar, we read particular statements and phrases that we're supposed to say that will be a means of protection for us. For example, بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم. We say, that's a particular dhikr. The Prophet said, if you read that from the morning if you read it in the morning after Fajr, you'll be safe until the evening. And if you read it in the evening after Asr, then you'll be safe until the morning. Does that make sense? So imagine, like, Allah will give you safety. There is another hadith the Prophet said, whoever comes. There's another hadith, the Prophet said, مَنْ نَزَلَ مَنْزِلًا فَقَالَ. Anyone who comes to a particular place, and then he says, أَعُوذُ بِكَلِمَاتِ اللَّهِ التَّامَّاتِ مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ. He says that, dua. The Prophet said, لَمْ يَضُرُّهُ شَيْءٌ حَتَّى يَرْتَحِلَ مِنْ مَنْزِلِ ذَلِكَ وَكَمَا قَالَ. He said, nothing will harm the person until he leaves from that place. He'll be safe. Does that make sense?
Yep.
We have the other hadith, which is, اللهم احفظني من بين يدي ومن خلفي وعن يميني وعن شمالي ومن فوقي وأعوذ بعظمتك أن أغتال من تحتي. Allah, protect me from my front, from my right, from my left, from my front, from my back, from my right, from my left, from above me and from below me. Protect me. We're asking for protection all around. When you leave your house, you say, Bismillah tawakkaltu ala Allah la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Then it is said, Kufit, Wuqit. It says the person has been sufficed by Allah. Wuqit has been shielded, protected by Allah Azza wa Jal. So the moment you leave your house, that is said for you. If you see this dua, it is said that you are protected now. Does that make sense? So there's many things, and we're going to mention them inshallah ta'ala in the COVID-19 survival pack, things to say. So, because this is really you asking safety from who? The one who has the ability to give safety in the first place. And then you go on to these secondary measures, which is wearing the face mask, washing the hands, social distancing. That's all secondary, because you could do all the social distancing in the world, like Allah Azza wa Jalla can make the virus spread to you. Does that make sense? Like, we don't know about this virus, we don't know much, it's very, very little about it is known. How do we know it's not a virus that can fly and travel, like some people are saying it's airborne? Like, how do we, and also the virus started mutating, they mentioned it started mutating, and the mutation hasn't been as severe and intense as it could be, but I'm saying Allah can make the virus mutate and it can make its way to you. I'm saying, is it not enough for you to understand Allah is the one that you should be asking for help, when He is the one who through His qadr and decree, who is the one who is the king of everything and the creator of everything. This is one of His creations, and it shut down the whole world. Like, do you really not think that it is the one like it is almost unheard of? It was almost impossible for us to think that the whole world could shut down like this. Do you ever think it could happen in your lifetime, Abu Bakr?
No. Like it's like you read about World War II and this, that, how people stay home and couldn't go out at certain times. That
Okay, this is worse than World War II. Shall I tell you why? Because when the Blitz happened in London, the Blitz when they bombed the UK.
Yeah.
They told everyone, carry on with your work, go out, work. Don't let them stop you from working. They were saying, despite the Blitz, go out there and work. Okay, this is great in World War II, because now they're telling everyone, don't even go out and work, stay in your house. Okay, I remember during the Blitz, they were saying, go out and work. Do not let the Germans scare you. Don't let them slow you down. You have to go out and work. Don't let the Nazis, sorry, not the Germans, don't let the Nazis slow you down. But they're telling you, stay at home. They're telling you, this is not time to go out. This is worse than World War II. The point is, I'm saying that, so we never thought something like this could happen. And it did. And it happened by something so insignificant as a small little tiny virus, right? That we can't even see with the naked eye. But it shut the whole world down. That's Allah. That's His power. That's His ability. So then it makes sense to go back to Him and ask Him to uplift this from you. Does that make sense? I'm not saying don't social distance. I'm social distancing myself. Look, I got the hand sanitizer in my hand. That's what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? But the issue is that None of this means, like, for example, how many times have you seen a person who's healthy and they drop dead?
So
But he used to eat good, he used to go gym, but he's dead now.
yeah.
For example, look at that woman, that girl, man, Chloe Middleton, I think her name was, 21 years old, from High Wycombe, healthy, no underlying issues, got coronavirus and she died. Like, come on, like, it's showing you that everyone can, you can say what you want, oh, it doesn't affect youngsters. But like, Allah does what He wants to do, man. Does that make sense? So you ask Him. And then, of course, the next stage that the survival pack's going to go through, inshallah ta'ala, is, because this is a time of calamity, certain adhkar to write when, like, if a calamity strikes, for example, if you do get sick, if someone does get sick, certain calamities, certain du'as and adhkar that you can write to help uplift the calamity. Then also because this has affected a lot of people's mental health. Because, people are inside, we're being isolated. Isolation is a punishment. That's why we put people in prison by isolating them. And if a guy is, really, really, really acting out in prison, he goes into, isolation further in prison, where he's alone completely. He doesn't even have a cellmate. Even in school, when a person's misbehaving, we isolate him. Does that make sense? So isolation is an adab. It's a punishment. So even though we are isolated with our families, it's going to affect a lot of people's mental health. Does that make sense? A lot of people are stressed. People are not used to this. Like, people are constantly used to seeing people out on the streets. They're at home now. So it's going to affect mental health. So I'm going to go for a section where we go for adhkar pertaining to mental health. Depression and sadness and grief and anxiety, so we can overcome these things. And then inshallah ta'ala, what will probably be the last part of the survival pack is what to do if you do get sick. Certain adhkar, certain ruqya, things that you can recite, things that you can use if you do get sick, the person who gets sick. Inshallah ta'ala, to basically read that on yourself so that Allah Azza wa Jalla can give you shifa'a. And by the way, I'm basing this on a book by Shaykh Abdurrahman Nasir Siddi. It shocked me because I thought I was going to have to put it together from my own research. And I was going through my library, I came across a book where literally the Shaykh starts off with adhkar, protecting yourself from calamity, adhkar, to protect yourself from mental health issues, adhkar when it comes to sickness, and if a person gets sick and what to recite. And I was like, literally, it's like he wrote this book for corona virus. Yeah, literally, like, I'm going to just go through that book. So that's like hopefully going to be some practical stuff, you know what I'm saying? And on top of that, I think, wallahi man, it's a time to seek knowledge. And that's one of the things I'm going to mention, obviously, because all of this is connected to knowledge, like learning this Tawheed in the first place. And also, like me, because I'm at home, like, I'm starting to do things that I never done before. Like, I always wanted to slightly become like a little chef. Like, I wanted to always learn how to cook, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? I made myself some little Lebanese kofta kebab wraps. Like, you know what I'm saying? People could start doing things. Like, they could start, like, you can learn a language, learn the Arabic language. You know what I'm saying? Like to learn the Arabic language online. Like, there's so much you could do, bro. There's so much.
Is there anything that Knowledge College has planned in terms of online classes or like anything online that people
can
do?
Yeah, of course.
In the meantime?
So right now we've got an offer running where people can get access to Knowledge College for 99p. Usually it's £9.99, but we put it on for 99p so people can access the whole of Knowledge College for the first month for 99p. From that point onwards it will be £9.99, and we've got hundreds of videos. We've got hundreds of videos. We've got content upon content, alhamdulillah. People can start studying, seeking knowledge. We're also going to be creating some other courses, some other programs. Also, watch out for my YouTube channel. I'm going to be putting out a lot of stuff. I'm going to go through the book of fasting, inshallah ta'ala. Like, there's a lot, bro, a lot. There's going to be a lot of stuff to keep yourself busy. Does that make sense?
What about, I heard Sheikh Asim might be doing some classes as well on Knowledge College online.
Sheikh Asim, inshallah, is going to go through Abdurrahman Nasir Siddi's book called Hayat Sa'ida. Basically how to live a happy life. And the book's quite powerful because what it does is it shows you how to be happy despite pain and despite going through suffering and calamity. But how can you still attain happiness, and how can you still live a good life and be happy even though you might be suffering from a sickness, even though you might be in poverty, even though the whole world might be collapsing around you. It's actually a very powerful book. Asim is going to go through that, inshallah ta'ala.
Sounds amazing. Okay. Are there any other advices or anything you'd like to give to the people generally?
Yeah, I really would like to say to the brothers and sisters that, please take heed of the fact that this is a reminder from Allah Azza wa Jalla. Like, فَاعْتَبِرُوا يَا أُولِي الْأَبْصَارِ. The people of intellect, they take lessons from these things. They ponder over these things. Does that make sense? In it are lessons, reminders, signs. So reap the sign from this. Does that make sense? Like the Prophet ﷺ, every time he used to see a cloud coming, he would become so nervous and anxious. He'd be going in and out of his house, in and out and in and out. His face would change. He would become scared. His wife Aisha radiallahu anha, she would say, Ya Rasulullah, what is wrong? You know? The Prophet said this cloud, a cloud that people once thought that it was going to bring them rain and joy, but it brought them the punishment of Allah. Does that make sense? So the Prophet, being a messenger of Allah, he's even though Allah has promised him khair and that he will not, that Allah has given him victory and whatnot, like when he saw a cloud, he got scared, because he knows وَمَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُ. No one knows the army of Allah except for him. He's scared. Does that make sense? So if the Messenger ﷺ is scared, how is it that me and you are not scared? Like we had these extreme winds that came, was it in February or late January? So it was extreme winds. Yeah, it was like 80 miles an hour, like pulling trees off from their trunks. Trees were collapsing, and I was like, that's scary stuff, akhi. Allah sent the wind. Allah sent a raging, roaring wind, like to show you, like, yo, like. And even then, I remember, even though it lasted for a few days, but the tubes weren't working, or they were slowed down, and this, that, and they were telling people, saying, well, don't go out of your house, and you know what I'm saying, like, don't go out, and this, that. Like, it's dangerous stuff, but people take it as a joke. So I'm saying, now Allah send you a virus, don't take it as a joke. This is something so that me and you could to turn back to Him. Remember Allah Azza wa Jalla, He said, وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمَمٍ مِّن قَبْلِكَ فَأَخَذْنَاهُمْ بِالْبَأْسَاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَضَرَّعُونَ. Allah said, we sent before messengers and before you, and then the people who denied the messengers, Allah said, we seized them with poverty and hardship. Why? Perhaps that they may humble themselves. So, people have gone through these calamities in the past. The point is, يَتَضَرَّعُونَ, become humble, يَرْجِعُونَ, come back to Allah, and don't do the sins that are the very reason for why this calamity might have come. For example, there's a hadith of the Prophet, he said, لا تظهر الفاحشة في قوم قط حتى يعلنوا بها إلا فشى فيهم الطاعون. That people don't start to engage in immoral acts, immoral sexual acts don't become apparent in the people to the point where they do it openly, except that Allah will send upon them plagues, diseases, the likes of which they never heard before. Hadith of Sunan Ibn Majah. So saying, we are a time that we've reached, sexual deviance and sexual immorality on a scale that is unprecedented in human history, man. 68% of Muslim youth are sexually active, man. Heartbreaking statistics. So it's a very, very sad reality. I'm saying it could be that this particular sin and these sins are the reason why this calamity is coming. Now imagine you're at home and you're watching porn. Imagine you're at home and you're still free mixing, and you're a girl, you're still sending snaps out to boys, and you're at home and you're still preying girls on Instagram, you're still sliding to the DMs, you're still free mixing, you're still doing madness. So I'm saying, you're still watching filthy things on Netflix and TV. Like I'm saying, the whole reason Allah Azza wa Jal sent this reminder, the whole reason Allah Azza wa Jal would potentially has sent this reminder is why? To scare the people and remind them because of a particular sin which has been mentioned in the text. But we're still doing that sin, but just doing it indoors now. Come on, man, it doesn't make sense. Does that make sense? Another narration, the Prophet said, لا ظهرت الفاحشة في قوم إلا سلط الله عليهم الموت أو كما قال. That the people don't start to engage in immoral sexual acts except that Allah, He kills them. Allah sends upon them death. He sends upon them death. Does that make sense? So the reality of the matter is that, wallahi, let's turn back to Allah. Let's repent to Him. It is a very scary time, but we hope in Allah. لا يأس من روح الله. We don't give up we don't despair in Allah. We have hope in Him. I'm saying, Allah is listening. Allah will listen to the calling of the believers. We must call out to Him. Does that make sense?
No. Okay, yeah. I think that's, Alhamdulillah, it was quite a comprehensive discussion on the topic. Inshallah, we're going to be, hopefully doing more channel buys like this, and like as I mentioned at the beginning, inshallah, trying to get, the other brothers, maybe some special guests or whatnot. Obviously, it might be a little bit difficult given the situation, quarantine, limited number of cameras, limited number of, pieces of equipment that we have. But inshallah, we're going to be trying to be a little bit more consistent with the channel buys from now on, inshallah. What I think would be a good episode next is is to talk about the element of
because I didn't mention it in this discussion. One of the practical things to help stop the virus from spreading, inshallah ta'ala, is to enjoin good and forbid evil. But I think maybe that could be a discussion on its own, because it's such a big topic. Maybe we could discuss that on its own, inshallah ta'ala, in the next episode.
Yeah, and let us know down below what episodes, what topics you would like us to discuss on future episodes. I know, like, for example, a lot of people have been asking, for an episode on the new
iBoomerang.
Yeah. A lot of people have been asking about discussion on that. From both an Islamic but also just a financial perspective. Someone mentioned
Abu Bakr is the iBoomerang expert. Allah barik.
How am I the iBoomerang expert?
Bro,
you're making me sound like I'm on it or something.
No, you're not on it. But you know when Taha praises someone, like Taha looked at me. He tried to, obviously he was going into this issue with you, innit?
Yeah,
so when Taha looked at me and he's like, bro, ask Abu Bakr, Allahumma barik. He understood it. When he said that to me, I was like, wow, okay, Taha doesn't usually come out and praise people like that.
We'll see in it, inshallah. I think that would be a good episode. A lot of people got a lot of questions about it. We've done a bit of research into it, how it actually works, stuff like that. We're hoping maybe, to get someone like Ustad Abdul Stevenson, or, Ustad Ma'arutaka, or maybe someone like that, if it is possible. Obviously, given the current situations, with the corona, quarantine and stuff, might be a bit difficult. But inshallah, we're going to try and do something on those lines. Let us know what you would like to see.
It's funny, you mentioned their names, we haven't even spoken to them yet.
Yeah, we haven't spoken to them yet, that's true. But that's what we were brainstorming, and there would be, from the Islamic finance side of things, it would be good to get them on it. But yeah, let us know down below in the comments what topics you would like us to discuss. And as always, stay safe, stay home, and inshallah, make dua. Inshallah, this situation is uplifted from us. But what? Even one of the things that Sheikh Asim mentioned on his live that he did the other day was some of the scholars. He said that he doesn't necessarily take the view himself, but some of the scholars actually said that it's not permissible to ask Allah to alleviate a plague from you because of the fact that the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that a plague is a rahmah for the believers, and you're not allowed to ask for the removal of the rahmah. He mentioned as a side point, he said it's not necessarily the strongest view, it's not necessarily the view he holds, but just to show you that there are so many mercy. Goods on the side of it as well. Yeah, that this is a mercy from Allah for the believers. Subhanallah. But yeah, I think we'll end it there, inshallah, and until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum. I have a question for you. From all of my videos online that you might have seen, which one has been the most life-changing one for you so far? Many people told me that it was the video when we gave da'wah outside the shisha cafe.
And I'll leave you with this. The Prophet ﷺ said, a time will come when holding on to my religion, holding on to Islam, will become as difficult as holding on to charcoal. The charcoals that we smoke shisha with. The Prophet said, try and hold on to it. It burns you, let go of it. The Prophet ﷺ said, that's what my religion will become like. Is it not like that today?
Or perhaps you're from those who said it was that lecture that everyone was asking about, the one I did on the issue of death.
Send me back. Please send me back. I'll pray this time. I'll dump that girl this time. I won't play around with the girls no more. No more cigarettes, no more weed, no more watching things online, no more talking to the guys, no more music, no more disrespecting my parents. I will pray. Allah, please send me back. Tell these angels, hold me down for a second. Send me back. Just 2 minutes. Send me back. Oh, let me die with my head on the ground in sajda. Let me die. But Allah said, no. Not be able to return. They will scream, Rabbi rji'uni. Send me back my master, please.
Or maybe it was one of the other 1,000 plus videos that we have online. Whatever it was, I want to ask you a follow-up question, and that is, I want you to remember and record what life was like before you saw that video, when you were distant from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, when you're thinking of that and remembering that, I want you to be aware that there are many brothers and sisters who are still living life like that, far and distant from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They still haven't seen that one video that's going to help change their life. They haven't seen that one reminder that's going to touch them and bring them out from the darkness of sin begins to the brightness and the light and the happiness of guidance. But that doesn't mean that there isn't hope for them. They just need to come in contact with that kind of content online. And that's why myself and my team are dedicating the next 3 months, inshallah ta'ala, to flooding the internet with as much content on Tawheed and Sunnah and reminders about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as possible. But the issue is that in order for us to reach those targets, we're limited in terms of the resources that we have. We need to hire more people in our media team. We need to also buy new equipment. Now look, I am going to ask you to support this financially, but I'm not going to ask you for crazy numbers. For us, we don't need that kind of money. We need little money because we have a team that really believes in this. And the proof is in the pudding. If you see what we've done over the last summer, subhanAllah, you can see that the work that gets done, that money goes where it deserves to be placed. So I'm going to ask you, inshallah ta'ala, because you're a person who's benefited from this YouTube channel, you're a person who's benefited from my video, I want you to be able to give the gift of that video that helped change your life to someone else by donating at the link below. And remember, the Prophet ﷺ said, none of you will truly believe until you love for your brother, by extension your sister, what you love for yourself. And what you love here for them is what guidance, the way you love it for yourself. So please, inshallah ta'ala, give it the link below and let's flood the internet with La ilaha illallah.